pick your brains. I just want the microphone. Take the mask off your face and look at me face to face. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I wanna share my love, but it's gotta be with someone who's precious. You're never gonna get my love, accepting that you're real precious. You're never gonna cramp my style, baby, cause I get a lot of pleasure. And if you wanna test my style, you better have a whole lot of measure. Cause I'm a rock back chick, never tag along the never look back chick. Trendy, a little crazy, intelligently singing rock back chick. No sticks, no stones, or any kind of weapon don't belong here. I don't wanna break no bones, I just want a microphone. Take the mask off your face and look at me face to face. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning, viewers. This is the Tobago Updates morning show coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough. Happy anniversary. God bless our nation. I don't know if we call this the Independence Eve, but for sure it's the day before Independence, Tuesday, 30th August 2022. I am Julian Skeet.
And I am Natalie C.D. Richardson, and we are happy to be with you this morning. To all our viewers, our listeners, we are ready to take you through this morning. And I must give a shout out to my little 6-year-old friend in Plymouth, Azari. I don't know if you are watching the live, but I know you usually catch up. Julian, yes. He listens, he watches Tobago updates, right? Whether it's Ria, he takes in this program. 6 years old. He's on the right track.
On the right track indeed. Giving a shout out there this morning. Happy Independence, as we approach tomorrow being the celebration of our 60th anniversary. Let me give a morning shout out as she's out there in vacation mode. Yes, friends, Ria Richardson George. Good morning to you. Good morning to you out there, Ria, and the entire family. And we want to take this opportunity. Today is that kind of going into tomorrow's activity, and I don't know, but there's that excitement to see the displays that will be happening.
Yes.
There's going to be, in terms of that street fair activity, things happening,
which is the first time.
Things happening as we celebrate 60. So it's really an exciting time.
And as we look forward to tomorrow, I know some people are organizing the game plan. What time you have to leave home, where you're parking, because we know that the streets will be closed off, Julian, by a certain time. And where's the best spot to take in the parade? My family and I, we usually have a particular spot. And I'll be like, let's hurry up because I don't want anybody in our spot, as though you buy it. And it's really exciting. It's an awesome time for family, friends. And because, we have been on the lockdown for the last 2 years, just over. We are going to see people we haven't seen for a while. As small as the island may be, we were just in our little spaces. And now that things are more or less back to normal, if we can say that, we're seeing the faces we haven't seen for a while in person, and it's a good feeling.
Most definitely indeed. Viewers, at this point, we pause to head on over to news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Julian and Natalie. I am Candice Jackson, and here is your news in 90 seconds for Tuesday, 30th August 2022. Chief Secretary Fali Augustine stated it is time for Tobago to move away from being pregnant with potential and give birth to its future. He was speaking at the Independence Gala, People's Gala last night, where he urged Tobagonians that it is time to forge ahead. However, in forging ahead, Augustine stated that people must be willing to accept change and warns that it would not be an easy transition. In fact, he stated that toes will be mashed in the quest to take Tobago to the next level in its development. He stated that after 60 years of independence, it is time for Tobago to have its autonomy and stand side by side with Trinidad. Meanwhile, the first flour factory on the island will be set up and operationalized by September 2022. This according to a release from the Division of Food Security, Natural Resources, the Environment and Sustainable Development. The release noted that representatives from the Executive Council and the management of TADCO recently met with Novo Farms Limited to finalize the Memorandum of Understanding for the production of alternative flour in Tobago. It said that dasheen and cassava flour will be produced in a modern facility and will satisfy the local demand and penetrate regional and international markets. And now nationally, mask wearing will not be a requirement for students when the new school term begins on Monday, 5th September. This from Chief Education Officer Dr. Peter Smith. At the press conference hosted by the Ministry of Education yesterday, Dr. Smith said, quote, masking is necessary but not mandatory, end quote. He also announced that the secondary entrance assessment examination will be held on Wednesday, March 29, 2023. Registration for the examination for public and private primary schools will open on September 12th and end on November 11th, 2022. And that was the news in 90 seconds. It is back to you, Julian and Natalie.
Thank you so much there, Candice, keeping us up to date with the happenings, both here in Tobago and even at the national level. And one of the highlights that we definitely want to speak to, Natalie, I had the opportunity last night to be at the People's Gala.
Oh, I'm not surprised,
and,
Julia.
Natalie, well, you know, where there's food, I don't pay at all. But beyond the meal itself, yes. The celebration and that opportunity to really commemorate the 60th anniversary using the art form. And, you know, you really saw the kind of narration, including, you know, the likes of Dr. Eastlin, Mackenzie and others speaking to that history. You know, that history for Tobago. And then you saw the celebration of some of our entertainers on the steel pan, like, you know, Gerard Balfour, the connection with the likes of Sherwin Winchester, being in the mix, our very own Adana, you know, and more in terms of really coming forward and presenting themselves. I think it almost resembled a, you know, we are happy to be outside. We are happy to be back. And I saw Shaw Park transformed in a kind of way. You know, when you saw the lineup for Shaw Park, you're thinking the seating arrangements as is. You saw a situation where the stage would have been relocated. So that entire floor where you'd normally sit in the stands and look at the stage was transformed. Transformed indeed. And, you know, having a wide cross-section of Tobago represented. Really, you know, a great evening indeed, celebrating our 60, coming here from the Tobago space in terms of that that idea of the People's Gala. I saw our very own Candice Jackson there as well.
Yes, and I was going to tell you, unlike you, Julian, I wasn't there in person, but I was able to take in the outfits, etc., those who posted online. And yes, and I wanted to mention our very own Candice Jackson stepping out, yes?
Yes. And again, that kind of sense of pride and joy, the red, white, and black. And, you know, kudos going out to the entire team out there, the presiding officer and the entire team at the Assembly Legislature. And, you know, by extension, our Chief Secretary would have also spoken, as Candice highlighted, within the news. You would have even had present the likes of former Chief Secretary as well, Mr. Kelvin Charles, you know, and a number of others who took the opportunity to be there as part of the evening's celebration. So certainly in good stead, and I think it's a nice lead up in that context to the excitement that comes tomorrow on Independence Day that takes place. And, you know, we're looking forward to the parade and the activities. And it's a good time. I know based on our lineup this morning, you know, we're going to be speaking Tobago Carnival. But I suspect the individual that we have on the rundown might even be able to give us a touch of what to expect. What to expect tomorrow as we see the return, so to speak. So Natalie, who do we have on the lineup this morning?
So This morning, as you mentioned, you know, that individual, Dr. Denise Sawyer van Angus, and she's going to be talking to us about Tobago Carnival and, as you said, other matters, you know?
You know, she has that ability in terms of being versatile and so on.
Most definitely.
Given her experience and exposure. And this morning we'll also be having the opportunity to chat with Carl Murray, and he's the Technical Officer of the Division of Food Security, Natural Resources, the Environment and Sustainable Development. And we are speaking to initiatives in the agriculture sector. And so we're looking forward to the discussions this morning. And it's that kind of morning just before Independence. So, you know, our guests have to give us a little touch in terms of their view and their perspective on Independence. So they're getting the heads up now.
Definitely, and I hope they're listening. And
All
Julian,
right.
you know, as we talk about celebrations, you know the Tobago Updates family must give our shout out to those celebrating today.
Yeah, so we head straight on into the birthday celebrations on the lineup.
And this morning we are wishing Carissa Budram Subrim a belated birthday. She celebrated her birthday yesterday, and this is coming from her husband, her daughter, her parents, and her siblings. And of course, from me, Carissa, we missed you yesterday, but we know you had an awesome time.
All right, sending birthday shout-outs to Shanika Waheed. All right, we want to wish you a happy birthday coming from the Tobago Updates family. And on screen, we have with us, some know her as Miss Toppin. All right, teacher out there, educator. We want to wish you a happy birthday, Shamika Toppin. Wishing you a happy birthday and God's continued blessings coming from the Tobago Updates family.
And a happy birthday to Marsha Phillips. Hope you have a very special day, an awesome day. We know you're going to have some fun, and happy birthday from the Tobago Updates family.
All right, and we got to pause for a cause here because, you know, in Tobago Updates, we got a lot of August celebrations.
I'm telling
happening.
you.
It's the man himself.
I'm telling you.
Anton Parks. Anton Parks, we want to wish you a happy birthday. And we want to wish you God's continued blessings coming from the entire Tobago Updates family. We know you're rocked back out there, relaxing, doing your thing. So, yes, and it's going to be back to the grind
Yes.
for you soon. But enjoy it. Enjoy it for now. Enjoy that birthday celebration. We want to wish you God's continued blessings coming from the entire Tobago Updates family.
And as we continue, Julian, you know, just to give a few shout outs to those on the live, I saw some names: Sharon Mills, Siobhan Allen Stewart, or is it Stewart Allen? I always interchange that name, and she is always there. I missed her for a couple mornings, but she's back, you know, so special and pleasant good morning to you.
All right, let me give some shout outs as well on the live with us. Yes, Marilyn Spence, Joe Field, Travis Moses, Natalie Kajo Nelson, and we also have Marlene Hamilton, Audit Cowan, Selma Lashley, Laverne Simon. All right, we want to wish each and every one of you, thank you so much for the continued love and support. Hey, how could I miss Kuki Melville in the mix, Liesel James. Good morning to each and every one of you. Yes, and also to all of you viewing out there via TV and those of you listening via radio, because Natalie, I'm always reminded as I go on the streets and I'm in the supermarket, don't forget the persons. It's not just those who are on the live.
That's right, that's right. You can't leave them out. And our listeners, of course, who listen via radio, you know, we have to give them the shout outs, let them feel involved. It's very, very important.
And we've got some news coming in, information regarding an advisory. Temporary road closure of the north side road in Castara. All right, so we just want to advise persons out there, consequent to the weeks of heavy rainfall on the island, a rotational failure of the slope at this location occurred. Therefore, the Division of Infrastructure, Quarries and Urban Development is advising the residents of Castara and environs that the north side road between Castara, Dong River and the Welcome to Castara sign is currently temporarily closed to all heavy traffic only. This closure is due to the failure of the portion of the roadway which has made the roadway treacherous at this time. As a result of the high risk associated with the failure of the roadway will be closed temporarily to all traffic from today, Tuesday, the 30th of August at 6 p.m. This closure is necessary to facilitate the commencement of emergency rehabilitation work. This exercise is aimed at restoring basic functionality to this essential roadway and is expected to be completed completed by Sunday, the 4th of September, all right, 2022. So just a gentle reminder and indication, you know, it's for persons to, you know, move by with caution. Indeed, a major roadway connection there in terms of our north side area. All right. So viewers, at this point, we want to remind you that this is your chance and your opportunity as you continue to show your love and support for the Tobago Updates morning show to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning. I want to share my love,
what I mean?
but it's got to be with someone who's...
When I see watch our Independence Parade, boy, the parade is back as we celebrated 60 years independence. Nice, and right here, I'm at it. The parade grounds, we here, and you gonna be here too from 8 a.m., right? So here now, come out in all your glory to see everybody from 8 a.m. It's gonna be nice.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry, don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry, if your nice can't get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry, don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry, if your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry, if sickness catch you off guard. I tell them never ever worry, if times fall on you real hard. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil will always be here for you.
Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Tell us about your organization, institution, when established, organizational structure. What are your organization's cause, mission, objectives? Please provide us with your organization's website, email, or social media handle. Does your organization have a bank account with a financial institution in Tobago? If so, please provide us the name of the financial institution. What is your role within the organization? How do we contact you? In 100 words or less, please tell us a bit about your organization's good work and why a donation from team might help. If your organization is selected to receive a donation from team, how will the funds be utilized? How will the community or constituency served by your organization benefit from a team donation? How would the donation from team be publicly acknowledged or advertised?
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show. It is 7:18 a.m. this morning, and in this segment, we have the opportunity to be chatting this morning with none other than Dr. Denise Sawyerfat Angus. And this morning, we are chatting with her in her capacity as former chairman of the Festivals Commission as we speak Tobago Carnival in October. But you know, we've got to also seize the opportunity to speak to her in her capacity as former presiding officer as we are in that time of independence. Morning to you, Dr. Angus.
Good morning, Julian, and good morning to the rest of your, viewing and listening.
Yes, viewing and listening.
And online audience. Good morning, everyone.
This morning, as we get started, you know, we prepare to celebrate 60 for Trinidad and Tobago tomorrow, the August 31st. What does that mean for you as someone who has spent your life in public service?
60 is significant, you know. It's that age of what I consider to be maturity, entering into that realm of wisdom and confidence, you know, a level of confidence. And that is who I expect we are as a people. But when we celebrate independence, we have to realize that we're not just celebrating what our foreparents would have gotten us, but it is an opportunity for us to reflect on who we are being, and where we now intend to take the island and the country to the next level. And even inside of that, it's not just the island and the country, yourself as an individual, your family and your communities. And, you know, independence is about having us think, how do we be independent-minded people such that we get to generate our own creativity and innovation to take us to the next level.
Right. And you know, I want to touch on the perspective, having served as the presiding officer, you know, particularly in a time, I dare say, when we were outside, and now looking at the return in this year. What can persons expect generally on Independence Day, commensurate with the start of the day and so on?
You know, it is difficult because this is the first post-COVID independence, the activities we've had for being out for what, 3 years?
Yes, correct.
And 3 years is a long time. So basically, whereas before you got to pretty much have a pattern and a system, now you need to find ways to recreate what was there and bring people out. And normally what you would see is that your officials arrive, your general public may line up along the way, and then you have your parade. In the past, we used to have the flights that would come up, and those petered off. And so I'm not sure the capacity of the parade itself, how many vehicles and the extent of the parade that we would have. I know sometimes we have officials who would come from Trinidad to be part of the parade itself in the different areas, whether it's be fire, police, or whatever. So that's left to be seen. And of course, you can't forget the cadet force.
Definitely. And this is our reminder here that at 8:30 in the morning, the Independence Day parade, and therefore, you know, this is your opportunity to come out, as we've seen over the years, in your red, white, and black to show your national pride. And as rightfully said, you look for an opportunity to find a strategic viewing point along the way. All right. So at this point, you know, we're switching gears a bit into that experience coming out of the Festivals Commission. Having served as the former chair for the Festivals Commission, we have since seen what is the media launch of the Tobago Carnival in October of 2022. Your thoughts?
My thoughts, why are we calling it a Tobago Carnival and not a carnival in Tobago? Because, you know, in talking to many of the Tobago fraternity, because you know, we behave as if this is the first carnival in Tobago. We have had experiences throughout the years that any time Trinidad has a carnival, we have something in Tobago. And so at this point, many of them are not happy. They've expressed themselves, whether on Facebook, whether, you know, in person, and even on this media forum. And so perhaps they needed to call it Carnival in Tobago, rather than saying a Tobago Carnival. And if they had called it Carnival in Tobago, I think the Tobago stakeholders may have recognized and accepted that, well, it's a carnival in Tobago, so we're not going to be at the forefront. But when you call it a Tobago Carnival, you would expect to have your stakeholders integrally involved in it. Because I don't know if they just want this to be an event or you want a development project coming out of it. And so where are the conversations happening with the Tobago stakeholders? How are the Tobago stakeholders being supported to be able to participate? Have they been given any, grant support? It's not, I understand it's not going to be a competition. So it's not as if they will, vie to make back some of that money on their own. And I think that has been the troubling part for many of them. They're not getting enough information. The other thing is that there is some confusion as to really who is running the carnival. You talk about me being the former chairman of the Tobago Festival Commission, and we were responsible for running major festivals on the island. But I don't think the Festival Commission is involved in the carnival. There's some additional ad hoc committee, and I think that also has not created the cohesion and brought the experience from throughout the years to bear. And youthful exuberance is good, newness is good, but I think the importance of knowledge and experience is also critical, and we're not seeing that coming out in what has been happening.
So one of the things you spoke to, we've seen in terms of, as you mentioned, the Tobago Carnival Committee that's operating, and we're told that the Tobago Carnival Committee would have been responsible for the planning element, and the rollout and execution is a combination of the Tobago Performing Arts Company, the Tobago Festivals Commission, and so on. Your thoughts in terms of that structure that is supposed to assist with the rollout of the Tobago Carnival, as compared to how it has happened previously?
It's usually the other way around. I mean, you have a board with a chairman. To me, that is the level of policy making for a carnival experience. You have Dr. Thomas, who's, well experienced and is an expert in his field of culture. And so why not have the Festival Commission be in charge of creating and planning and ensuring that the adequate policies are in place, and then you have your Carnival Committee execute. I mean, that's how it has been done, and was done reasonably well, because the festival would have then been able to bring all of the stakeholders together. And I'll give you one of my concerns. We have the Juve that is supposed to be happening. Normally you have about 7 bands in the February experience that would go down to Crown Point. And we see how very congested it becomes. Well, you may very well have about 27 bands now, because I understand bands are coming from Trinidad and elsewhere. And you've chosen to have it in the same place. What is that going to look like? Is the police involved? Are fire services involved in TEMA, involved in ensuring that this could be safe? We also talk about the revitalization of Scarborough as part of the carnival experience. And we always talk about it. We've tried different things. I think this would have been a grand opportunity to give Scarborough its space.
So your thinking is that there should have been a fuller utilization of Scarborough versus the plans and projections for Crown Point?
Yeah, because when you look at it, it could be a disaster. Safety and security in Crown Point, given the number of increased bands that you may be having down there. And in addition to that, I mean, in February, Crown Point has been doing extremely well in terms of the carnival you have there. So why not give Scarborough its space? You see, February, you go to Crown Point for Juve. Scarborough is October, in Juve in October. And it's really looking at the logistics and the equity amongst people around the island, because you don't just have business people in Crown Point, you also have business people in Scarborough. And it's really looking at how do we create equity around the island year-round and not just have it in one space.
One of the things that you spoke to is an essential component of this Tobago Carnival is that there is no competitive element, you know, in any of the areas, whether Mars, whether Steel Pan, etc. How do you think that, you know, changes the perspective of what is going to be delivered in terms of this unique brand that is being promoted as the Tobago Carnival, different from what we have experienced, you know, whether it be in Trinidad on a larger scale or in the other islands?
Because there's no, and I'm not saying there should be a competitive element, but because there's no competitive element, you may tend to lose some of the creativity. You know, competition drives creativity. And you may tend to lose some of the creativity in that area. And that is where we get to really define what we want the carnival experience to be. Is it just a jump up and jam? If it's a jump up and jam, good, you know. But I thought that we were looking at giving people an authentic experience in addition to the jump up and jam. And so that may be endangered by not having the competition. In the absence of a competition, they could have been given grants to showcase properly. At least the Tobago stakeholders could have been given some grants as a support system to showcase some of their best. And, and in giving the grants, it would have given the opportunity of the organizers to go in and monitor and guide and, you know, give some added support in training. And that's the other thing. Normally, we would have a training support system for our band leaders in Tobago. I don't know if that was even done, taken into consideration, because I go back to the fact that we should be considering that this is a product that we are growing and not just an event happening. And if it's an event happening, I go back, it should just be called Carnival in Tobago. But if you're saying Tobago Carnival, I get the idea that this is a developmental sort of project that you expect to see really come to fruition in the next 3 to 4 years. And therefore, the additional support to the Tobago stakeholders has to be in place. There has to be involvement. There has to be greater collaboration and, you know, a thought process that we're really building a Tobago product, and therefore, you know, this is how we're going to be doing it. And you're not getting the idea that the Tobago stakeholders are very much involved. I am not even hearing much about the calypsos or even the pan, and even, you know, we talking about marketing now. What is your target audience? We have to recognize our largest target audience and easiest target audience is in Trinidad. You know, what are we truly doing to entice and, you know, have the target audience? I'm not talking about the band leaders. I'm talking about those who are part of the reveling and the experience of the visitors. What are we doing to ensure that we tap into that market? There seems to be some controversy that would have been brewing out of the travel to Grenada. And we have to minimize those things when we consider that marketing is important, and you don't need those mishaps and controversial you know, stuff in the space right now, because Trinidad is your target market. You want them to feel welcome, that they could come and visit and be a part of the whole experience.
Right, so we just out of time for this interview, but in your final 30 seconds, what are your recommendations, at least one major recommendation, way forward between now and October?
Call a meeting with your stakeholders. Start listening to them. Listen to them. Meet their needs as the best as you can. But you must engage the Tobago band leaders, the Tobago pan community, the Tobago Calypsonians. It's not too late to hear what they have to say and to, you know, make sure that they feel included and they can see themselves as part of the experience. Many of them may need support to get off their feet because it's been, what, 3 years that we haven't been there, and they, you know, a grant assistance somehow, making sure that they have music trucks, making sure, you know, that they even know the route. I understand nobody knows the route. You know, so there are a lot of things to be done, but I think first and foremost, they need to start engaging the Tobago band leaders and the Tobago participants in the realm much more.
All right, thank you very much there, Dr. Denise Soyafat Angus, joining us on set here this morning. We want to thank her for her contribution as she spoke for a greater involvement of the stakeholders in the Tobago Carnival guarded for October 2022. And just to connect with some of you on the live with us this morning, quick shout outs going out there. We see on the live with us this morning, Denisha Jones, Darrell Ski, Joel Tate. Hey, my family in the line up there, man. Darrell and Joel, Auntie Dora Lyons. All right, wishing each and every one of you a great day, a great day. Charlotte Roberts Ramsey. All right, thank you so much. Dee Vincent also connecting with us on the live this morning. And we want to thank each and every one of you, those connecting with us via Guile the channel, those on M&E TV, those on Smash Radio, and those listening on Street 91.9 FM. And each and every one of you connecting with us online, this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
If you see or know about a crime, report a crime safely and anonymously. Call 800-TIPS. Help stop crime. You can play your part safely and anonymously. Report a crime. Earn a reward. Call 800-TIPS. Help stop crime. Be a hero, champion, fearless citizen. Be a crime stopper safely and anonymously. Call 800-TIPS. Help stop crime.
Yo, Olia, what's going on, boy? Outside nice is all about it. You know, we celebrating 60 years independence. Because after we done left, right, we here, we on the strip. It's all about the street festival. We starting from up so, Dutch Fort, coming straight down so to Coast Guard Corner, right? It's gonna come alive. Entertainment, things for the children, you don't know everything. That's starting from 3 p.m. And then from 8 p.m. we coming back here because the fireworks launching from somewhere out so. Yeah, we celebrating it, boy, things nice. 60 years anniversary, boy, independence. Nice, boy, yes, boy, we outside.
Party island, the fight is strong like white brown boy. Nothing sweeter than to be born, yeah.
Mamai Lakai Home Services. We specialize in cleaning of carpets and rugs, mattresses, living room and dining room sets, vehicle detailing, cleaning and sanitizing of homes and commercial spaces. We also do landscaping and tree cutting, pressure and power washing, floor care, fumigating and air purifying. You can also call us for professional painting services, babysitting and adult sitting. Call us now 333-4430 at Mamai Lakai Home Services. We take cleaning to another level.
Excel Spa by Haley, where our highly trained staff are ready to deliver the top class services in facial massages, waxing, nail enhancement and body treatment. We are ideally located at Coco Avenue, Switzerland, Tobago. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TripAdvisor, or you can call us on 730-0149. Excel Spa by Haley. Relax, renew, and rejuvenate.
Put a smile on your...
Are you looking for that all-in-one shopping experience? Then look no more. Visit Lamb's Best Mart for your grocery items, fruits and vegetables, drinks, home items, stationery, gift items, hampers, shopping gift cards, toiletries, small hardware items, and much more. We provide order and pickup service, even delivery to your door. We are your friendly community supermarket. Check us out today at Lamb's Best Mart, located at 22 Daniel Trace Canby, or visit us on social media at Lamb's Best Mart.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Advertise with Tobago updates. Call 284-6597. If you have a small or large business, we can get your information in front of the masses. Reach our rapidly growing viewership on Facebook and YouTube. Promote your brand in Trinidad and the Caribbean through M&E TV Now and Gayel. Yes, we can build unique ads for your business. Call now 284-6597 and advertise with us.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back,
good
viewers and
morning.
listeners. And just before we go over to our guest, Mr. Carl Murray, I just want to remind us all of what's happening on our Tobago celebration calendar of events for 60th Independence celebration. And today, 30th of August 2022, we have the graduation ceremony of all those who took part in our World of Work. So congratulations to all of you. I understand your ceremony begins at 10 a.m. All right. Also at 10 a.m. is the launch of the Northeast Tobago Man and the Biosphere Art Trail. Something to look forward to. And of course, if you do check the respective divisions' social media pages, I know that you will find more information. And of course, the countdown is on definitely for tomorrow, 31st of August, the actual day we celebrate 60 years of independence. So keep that in mind. And as I have always been reminding us, although we have our dress-up game, we have our red, white, and black, let's remember to reflect on our attitude. Let's remember to reflect on who we really want to become as a nation. We are so full of potential, and I know we can all do more. All right, so those are just some reminders for you. And of course, next to me this morning is Mr. Carl Murray, who's the technical officer, and I'm tempted to say Division of Agriculture, but we know that there's a more sophisticated name, a name that really encompasses what that division is about, and it's the Division of Food Security, Natural Resources, the Environment, and Sustainable Development. Good morning to you, Mr. Murray.
Good morning.
And of course, you are here to speak to us this morning about initiatives in the agriculture sector. And let me go right off the bat, direct to you. What are some of those initiatives coming out of the division?
Right, good morning again, and let me say good morning to Tobago. Thank you for having me. And perhaps a little before I talk about some of the initiatives, I just want to contextualize what we are doing right now and some of the upcoming activities so that we understand where we are headed. And perhaps one of the realities of today, perhaps the newest world order of today is that we are living in a food insecure world. And if we look and we see what has been happening over time and even presently, whether it is a global financial crisis of 2008 or a global pandemic, or even what is going on now in terms of global conflict, one of the outfalls that always seem to occur is the fact that we seem to have greater and increasing levels of insecurity, food insecurity in the world. And therefore, what it says to us as a nation and what it says to us as the people of Tobago is that we are to ensure that we take as much initiative as possible to ensure that the people of Tobago are secure in terms of what is required in terms of food and nutrition security. And what that simply means is that the people of Tobago must be able to at all times access food that is adequate to supply their needs, that there is a reliable supply, and that is also nutritious. And that's an element that we must always bear in mind, not just having access to food, but food that is nutritious and that meets our daily requirements. And therefore, we have to understand that if we are living today where, as we currently see, global food supply chains have been interrupted. For example, for many Tobagonians, we have now realized that if we go to the supermarkets, we can't seem to find eggs or even chicken. And those are some of the realities that we have to deal with. And what it keeps saying to us is that at the level of Tobago, we need to ensure that we take part and we make ourselves secure. And therefore, we have to look at how can we best optimize the resources that we have locally. And to make sure that as much as possible we give support to local content, as well as strengthen and build capacity in what we have, and optimizing all the resources that we have as much as possible available to us in Tobago, so that we can ensure that food security is a reality for Tobago, and as much as possible unaffected and interrupted by what is happening out there. And with that vein, we want to therefore look at some of the initiatives that we are doing. And therefore, as we seek to go forward in terms of a developmental path for agriculture in Tobago, we are looking at it from a multi-pronged approach. Not just increasing, which is important, increasing production of food in Tobago. And that is important, yes, but it's not just about improving or increasing production technologies and increasing food production, but it also has to be supported by a vibrant industry, a vibrant sector. And so we are approaching it from the perspective that we are going to not only stimulate and try to encourage food production, but we are also simultaneously going to stimulate and develop industry, hoping that whatever we are doing, it will be able to stimulate viable agribusiness enterprises that will be able to take raw products and not just make them available, but be able to utilize them and make more products out of what we have, and therefore spreading the range of activities across the sector so that there are opportunities, emerging opportunities for entrepreneurs and for people, that we diversify the food content that we have and make it more appealing to others, and as well that we, in doing so, encourage the relevant market development that is necessary. In other words, we are developing the sector through a value chain approach, from production all the way up to consumption. And with this in mind, we have started several initiatives in terms of increasing. The division has realized that many of the young persons, and we are seeing a lot of young persons today who are interested in agriculture, many people don't seem to have that seed capital. Many persons don't, unable. You just come out of school and you don't have that. You can't face the banks as yet. And even if you already have started, you don't have that type of capital to go forward. And the division is recognizing more and more that we have to play a more developmental role in providing that type of enabling environment. So one of the initiatives that we have put forward, and that has been approved, and I would believe in the next fiscal year that we will see, is where we are trying to install and assist farmers by actually providing some of that infrastructure. So one of the initiatives that we're going to be looking at is what we call a greenhouse or protected structures farm, where the average person to be able to purchase and probably install a greenhouse may cost them above $150,000 to $200,000. And we are looking at providing some of these infrastructure and the technologies that are associated, and hoping that as much as possible the relevant training that individuals can now have the potential that is required to go forward. So we are hoping that we be able to set up some of these structures throughout Tobago, make them available, train young persons, farmers, entrepreneurs, and be able to walk away with that confidence that they are able now to supply some element of the Tobago economy in terms of production.
And as you mentioned that initiative, I'm also thinking of the entire process. Was any consideration given to recover the THA's investment if you have persons who may be excited, yes, and want to do this, but things fail along the way for whatever reason, they are no longer interested. But monies would have been spent in setting the greenhouse and structure up and all of that. So is there any way of recovering if a person doesn't follow through?
Well, obviously, with everything like that, we're going to be able, we'll be doing the necessary due diligence, obviously, and having the necessary agreements in place that if structures are not utilized in the best way that they should be, or to our expectations, that they will be recovered by the state. It's the same way in Tobago that we have to understand that when the state, the THA, makes an investment in people, it is expected that there are returns. And I would want to visualize that even in the upcoming years, that, for example, people who have been granted state lands for the purpose of agriculture and have not been doing anything with it, land is a very limited resource in Tobago, that it's about time that the state will start looking at recovering or rescinding some of the leases that have been provided to farmers. We want to be able to place the valuable resources in the hands of people who can do the most and the best with it, and not people who are going to take it and not give that return on investment. So we are hoping that we will be able to have these systems in place that will be able to recover if persons are not doing that. And then sometimes we have to understand as well that it's a growing process.
Definitely.
And agriculture is one of the most riskiest of businesses you can go into. And so at the same time, we are not going to just wait for that moment just to run in and just grab it.
Of course.
But be able to work with persons as long as we can and as much as we can to help them become successful. The importance is that we want success. We want persons to be able to really see the value of what has been given and be able to do something with
and
it.
As you mentioned, it's about being sustainable.
That's right.
Very important. And that's just one of the initiatives. Are there any other initiatives we can look forward to?
Right. So we would have seen as well that food security is not just at the level of just farming. And one of the things that I think we were very, very much enthusiastic about is the fact that the pandemic brought about a sort of consciousness, and a lot of persons, you went to the agro shops, and a lot of persons were, involved in planting, and I'm really hoping that that does not stop. We are emerging more or less from the pandemic, and you're seeing a slowing of activity, and you're hoping So one of the things that we have always been consistent with and we are continuing to drive is the fact that food security also resides with each homeowner.
Yes.
And therefore the home gardening initiative, which we have started several years ago, we are continuing to place emphasis on that so that homeowners are able to play their role and to control what they eat, to consume what they eat. When you control what you consume, then you control your health. And so we would have recently launched our small space competition, again hoping that we'll continue to encourage persons to become involved and to be a part of home gardening, which is important in guaranteeing food security at the level, food and nutrition security at the level of the home. And so that's one of the initiatives we have been more or less geared towards ensuring that it is successful. Another initiative that we are looking at is trying to make and optimize the use of the resources that we have.
Right.
And I say this from the perspective that branching over into tourism, we have to understand now that tourism is not just about Tobago, sea and sand. I keep on saying I've visited several countries in the world, and while we can boast of some of the uniqueness of Tobago, I don't think sea and sand is going to sell it anymore.
Right.
And we have to understand that tourism throughout the world is now more about experiential tourism. People want to be able to engage and immerse themselves in the culture of another country, in the food and the experiences that take place. And we believe that one of the most underutilized in terms of its potential is the agricultural sector, and linking it to tourism, whether it is the backward linkages or the forward linkages. But taking the history that we have had in agriculture and many of the resources that are dormant and lying there, and now offering a product that would be able to contribute to the economy of Tobago, strengthen the agricultural sector, and create the synergies that are required to drive Tobago's economy and the agricultural sector. And one of them, for example, is what we would have observed as the recent revival of the cocoa industry.
Right, yes.
We went to Grenada several months ago to attend the cocoa festival, the chocolate festival in Grenada. And while we were blown away with perhaps the organization, there was the realization that what was offered was nothing unique that Tobago could not have done, and that we also have as a rich part of our culture. And so visiting with the secretary, who is adamant that for every time we have an experience out of Tobago, it must translate into something on the ground in Tobago.
Right.
And immediately emerging from that visit, we see now the revival of the cocoa industry in Tobago, not in terms of the efforts that we have been doing to encourage cocoa farmers, but also now to add an additional product offering, which is that agro-tourism linkage. So we would have recently, earlier in this month, the 10th and 11th of August, trained a cadre of cocoa farmers and workers attached to government stations with the hope that, listen, if we're going to revive that, we must first of all, as they say, clean up house. You must clean up house, have things as they are. And then now we're going to be emerging now into what is now being labeled as the Leo, because we do have an estate up at the Leo, cocoa estate up at Leo, and we're going to be now engaging what is now a calendar event coming up in October, on the 18th of October, which is the Leo Cocoa Experience.
Okay.
And with it now is being able to tie in the aspects of what we have as a natural resource, a cocoa estate, and some of the offerings that we can make that can now become not just an event, but a continuing program in terms of agro-tourism investment. So it's going to be an event where an attraction that now continues throughout the year will draw visitors in terms of the experience of the natural experience of being involved in touring the plantation, involving activities surrounding that nature. And one of the great part of it is that it will be able to stimulate nearby villages in providing down the road accommodations and stuff. So we want to be able to optimize. We have too many resources, and not just in agriculture, but I believe in terms of antiquities and the arts. We have too many resources that we are not making optimum use, and that's one of the things of security.
And let me just interrupt you for a quick second, because as you mentioned, the trip to Grenada and reviving the cocoa industry, at least the farming industry in Tobago. Is there any plans in terms of reviving other traditional farming areas? For example, banana, you spoke about the cocoa, and I don't know if Grenada is still doing it, but there once was a time where Grenada had a heavy, you know, publicity drive to educate not just farmers or those involved in farming, but the general public. So whether it was via radio or television, you had these educational programs telling you how to grow nutmeg, you know, what is the best method for harvesting your bananas. Can we look forward, or has any consideration been given to really drive home this point to get that buy-in from the wider public? So there's always education as opposed to, you know, events.
And I'm going to answer that on two fronts. The first thing, I agree with you. We have become too accustomed to events. And we need to understand that events must not just be events. And I don't want even to say programs.
Right.
But there are many things that we need to incorporate into our lifestyle, right? And certainly where food and nutrition security is concerned, many of the initiatives and some of the things that we're trying to foster is not just from a production perspective, but getting people to incorporate certain habits, certain attitudes where agriculture and food security into your lifestyle. And one of the things that we have understood is that for everything you do and every initiative, it must be supported by a robust public awareness and education campaign. And we are hoping that whether we do it through the Law Cocoa experience or any ever initiative, it is going to be supported by that. And I'm grateful to the folks that we have at our communication unit, who I think if we would have looked at our website and our Facebook page, have been really stepping up in terms of promotional.
Right.
And we're just waiting on school to really reopen, to get back into the schools, show our 4-H programs,
Right.
to inculcate again within the minds of our young people that type of, and reinforcing that need. You spoke about Grenada and we spoke about and banana, and that's one of the industries that has never really developed in Tobago. But we realize that banana is one of the greatest, one of the products that or commodities that people consume in such large quantities.
Yeah.
And so actually one of the projects that we have right now taking place up at Kendall at the farm school, together with collaboration with the Food and Agricultural Organization, is looking at developing a sustainable and competitive banana industry in Tobago. And so we have about an acre of a trial plot that we have established, intercropped with sweet potato. And why that is significant, because as I said to someone yesterday, it is not just doing something because it's practical.
Yeah.
But it's doing something because it's also feasible and sustainable. And therefore, we are hoping that by incorporating sweet potato, that a farmer doesn't have to wait 10 and 11 months to harvest and sell and make something. But if he incorporates something else in the short-term period, then he should be able to get revenue to take care of himself, his family, and meet expenses as the time goes. So that is exciting. We are looking at the results of that. We're going to be establishing a ripening room and seeing how we can get it. Already some of the local suppliers are interested in the product.
Right.
And we are hoping that if that is successful, that we can get more players. Getting the information out as well is important, and that comes from the Kendall Farm School. And one of my purpose of being here this morning is trying to give support and appreciation for the use of information and communication technology in agriculture. And part of it has to do with adopting new methods of training. And so the farm school today is now poised, and we are trying to strengthen the capacity to provide training, and which we continuously do. In fact, we have one that is upcoming on that has to do with irrigation that is going to be taking place, I believe, in early September. And we're asking folks to look at our website, look at our Facebook page, register as much as possible, and get involved. But the farm school now has turned its emphasis not only on providing face-to-face, but being able to understand the world in which we're living, and now utilizing as much as possible online and virtual training. Classrooms are no longer physical classrooms. They are virtual places of learning.
Definitely.
And we are hoping that as well, agriculture will not be left behind. Agriculture will be able to adopt all the modern technologies and approaches, especially the use of ICT, in making and improving our efficiency, but also improving our service delivery, ensuring that people have greater access to our services, improvements in the way they access it, and greater benefits from accessing it, especially through online.
And of course, anytime we speak agriculture, the cry is, you know, Tobago is no longer feeding itself, and there was once upon a time, and, you know, we're very familiar with those stories. And people may be tempted to say, you know, this type of conversation we're having, it's not new. And, you know, a lot of talk has been happening over the years, and people really want to see Tobago step forward in terms of agriculture, production. And one of the challenges that I would have learned about, we have a lot of persons who are exploring alternatives to wheat flour. And you have a lot of people developing their businesses, and one of the challenges is that we're not getting enough cassava. We have to go to Trinidad. We're not getting enough in terms of raw materials. You know, is the division looking at, and you would have mentioned some of the initiatives, but how do you hone in on really ensuring that while you develop the industry along the way, and you have all these different points, that the end user, the person needing the raw materials, the young person who is interested in developing a new snack, a healthy snack, and making it available for Tobagonians and the wider market, that demand for that raw material, where does the division come into play there?
And that's very interesting as well, because as I said earlier, one of the approaches that we're taking, the three-prong approach, is to simultaneously develop agro-processing. And the Tobago Agribusiness Development Company, which is a company under the division, has now become the flagship in terms of providing that type of support for agribusiness development. But at the same time, the division recognizes, and you know, I want to say to Tobagonians this morning that many times the division seem to come under a lot of fire when people say we can't get this and we can't get that. And we must always understand that the role of the division is not to directly engage in production, but to enable and to foster participation in the industry so that persons can get involved. And what I'm saying to us this morning is that we need your help as Tobagonians. Agriculture is not going to develop unless we have that private sector involvement, persons who are willing to see agriculture as a business and that they can profit and at the same time make a valuable contribution to food and nutrition security. And we are therefore employing persons as much as possible, persons who have idle lands, persons who have the wherewithal to be able to even approach a division and be willing to engage in some sort of partnership arrangements where we can take the sector forward, where we can develop the sector. Now, in allowing our agro-processors to survive, one of the things that occurred was that some of our processors came to us and said, listen, since the whole pandemic and some of the situations with the interruptions of the global supply chain, we have not been able to access some of our raw materials. We were bringing them in from outside the country. We didn't have enough local content. And make it even worse, shortage of foreign exchange. We couldn't get it. What can you do? And so we listen, and I'm always saying to our stakeholders this morning, we are always trying to listen and to see how we can, as much as possible, address issues. And so one of the things that we have on the cards, we have identified 2 areas, and it has already been approved, and we're hoping to execute it as early as the next fiscal year. We're going to be starting some groundwork right now, is to see if we can establish what we call some fruit farms in Tobago. One of the greatest products that a lot of our agro-processors seem to want to have are things like mangoes and guavas and these different fruits that we can process and make a variety of products. And so we're going to be establishing some of these fruit farms where the raw material will become now available. We'll try as much as possible to maintain and have them available at subsidized cost. But we're also hoping that local entrepreneurs as well would be able to see the opportunity that a fledgling agro-processing industry is just waiting to burst at the seams, and we are hoping that they'll be able to provide that as well. In addition to which, we are encouraging, for example, at Tadco right now, Tadco, we heard that they are going to be launching their cassava, their flour production plant, and that is going to take a tremendous amount of cassava. At least that's one of the first alternative flours that they're looking at. And what it means is that we are hoping that farmers will be able to step forward and produce. I don't want to have to say, and I don't work at Tadco, but I don't want to have to say we are going to face a scenario where we'll have to go to Trinidad.
Yeah, definitely.
But we want to be able to encourage farmers. So we have started over the years training in that area. We have discussed from the department how we are going to be able to support Tadco in providing land preparation services and other services that we can to make sure that farmers can produce in the most efficient way through training in association with TADCO, through the provision of services, and hoping that persons will be able to take up the battle or be able to do so.
Right, and viewers and listeners, you know, there's so much more we can talk about, but our time is up, and I want to thank Mr. Murray for being with us, sharing information, and I know if we need him back, he will return, because this is so important that we understand, and we all have a part to play. It's about being sustainable in terms of our food, providing for ourselves, and as Mr. Murray pointed out, it's not just about providing or increasing food production, but in terms of looking at our choices. It's about making healthy choices as well. So something to think about. Maybe you have a lot of mango trees, and just as people will drive about and buy the coconuts off a tree, you might be able to sell the mangoes off your tree. So keep tuned. You never know how you can be a part of this exciting process as we move forward in Tobago. So viewers and listeners, it is time for me to say goodbye, and of course I'm looking forward to seeing you again on Thursday. We know tomorrow is a national holiday, and we are celebrating our 60th Independence anniversary. So if you don't have your red, white and black as yet, you have some time today to go shopping, and I'm sure you'll find something. Get the family out, plan, and just have a great time. Tobago updates the family here. We send love to you. It's always a pleasure, and we make way for GMT with Candice Jackson.
TIC, the Trade and Investment Convention that we have every single year, barring COVID, provides opportunities through which businesses, local, regionally and foreign businesses, can actually collaborate with each other, share knowledge and partner with each other. That's the biggest opportunity coming out of TIC that you should not miss this time around.
The breakthrough that we are looking for is most of the groceries, like Massey and the other big stores in Trinidad, that they will be here and they will be able to share the experience with us and even taste our product and realize that we are the best. As I said before, strictly the best. Our packaging just gives us a notch above the rest.
On your mark, ready, get set, go! Immerse yourself and invest in a Tobago. Drag your bow, Mr. Fiddler.
Oh ha! Oh ha! Oh ha! Oh ha! Oh ha! new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise. The energy fell.
Welcome to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates, your source for current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad, and the region. With a perfect conversation to complement your morning routine, I am Candace Jackson, and let's get started with the news in 90 seconds. Chief Secretary Fali Augustine stated it is time for Tobago to move away from being pregnant with potential and to give birth to its future. He was speaking at the Independence People's Gala last night, where he urged Tobagonians that it is time to forge ahead. However, in forging ahead, Augustine stated that people must be willing to accept change and warns that it would not be an easy transition. In fact, he stated that, quote, toes will be mashed, end quote, in the quest to take Tobago to the next level in its development. He also stated that after 60 years of independence, it is time for Tobago to have its autonomy and stand side by side with Trinidad. Meanwhile, the first flour factory on the island will be set up and operationalized by September 2022. This according to a release from the Division of Food Security, Natural Resources, the Environment and Sustainable Development. The release noted that representatives from the Executive Council and the management of TADCO recently met with Novo Farms Limited to finalize the Memorandum of Understanding for the production of alternative flour in Tobago. It said dasheen and cassava flour will be produced in a modern facility and will satisfy the local demand and penetrate regional and international markets. And now nationally, mask wearing will not be a requirement for students when the new school term begins on Monday, 5th September. This from the Chief Education Officer, Dr. Peter Smith. At a press conference hosted by the Ministry of Education yesterday, Dr. Smith said, quote, masking is necessary but not mandatory, end quote. It was also announced that the secondary entrance assessment examination will be held on Wednesday, 29th March 2023. Registration for the exam for public and private primary schools will open on September 12th and end on November 11th, 2022. And that was the news in 90 seconds. And just by way of a public service announcement from WASA, the Water and Sewerage Authority advises customers served by the Highland Water Treatment Plant and Craig Hall Well, who are currently experiencing low pressures and no water, that this is due to a clogged Craig Hall intake, as well as a ruptured 6-inch diameter pipeline of the Craig Hall Well. Emergency repair works are expected to be completed by 5 p.m. today. So the affected residents would be those in Woodland, Goodland Lane, Culloden, King Pay Beaters Road, Runnymede, Devines Road, Highland Road, and the environments. So if you're in those areas and you're wondering what's going on with your water pressure, yes, WASA is on it, and hopefully by 5 p.m. today, you would have a return of your regular water supply as, WASA completes their repairs. Now, on to some news today. Of course, we are in independence mode. We are celebrating 60 years of independence. And, it's just such a wonderful thing to be a part of this country and to be able to celebrate. And as we're talking about celebrations, we're going to be talking about another set of celebrations that's going to be coming up in October, and of course that is none other than the Tobago Carnival, and it continues to be a part of our discussions every day, and of course we have a lot to talk about leading up to it. Now, joining me on set this morning is none other than Mr. Terrence Sandyford, and of course you know him as one of those stalwarts in mass in Tobago. And of course we can't be talking about carnival and that sort of thing without Mr. Sandyford. But before we get into the conversation with Mr. Sandyford, of course, I want you to tell me a little bit about how does it feel to be part of Trinidad and Tobago celebrating 60 years of independence?
Can I call you Mrs. Jackson, Miss Jackson, or how?
Sure. It's okay.
To be brutally honest, as I usually am, I think we are still lacking way behind. we are still a hypocritical society. We still like to do things and wouldn't stand and say, yes, it is right or wrong. We like to talk behind back. And, you know, there are some good out of it, but generally I think we probably lacking like about 40% in reaching our true ambitions and true potential. We have the potential, but the politics is so nasty across the board, both Trinidad and Tobago, that it hinders the true potential of Trinbagonians.
Well, that's a very interesting perspective.
Yeah.
And I know that's going to lead off into what we're talking about today, which is Carnival, Tobago Carnival.
Yeah.
And I know you are disappointed by some of the things that you are seeing. Now, before the launch last week, I know that you all would have presented your own proposals and just your ideas for how, you know, you think that, or how mass and some of the traditional things could be incorporated into Carnival. However, that didn't happen.
And it goes to show you how we are thinking in this island. Here's the thing about it. On the political platform of this present administration, it was banded around that anything we are doing here now and moving forward is for Tobagonians. It's not PNM red, UNC yellow, green, black, or whatever it is. It's for Tobagonians. And I must speak about it because we have the potential and the personnel to do it right, but we're not doing it. Take, for instance, I was listening to Dr. D speaking about the two set of committees and this sort of Mickey Mouse thing. All right? The Festival Commission is supposed to be in charge of all the festivals on the island. Dragon Race, Blue Food, whatever it is. But just because John Arnold, who everybody feels is PNM, is in charge of a festival commission, they bring a substitute committee with people who is dumb as a plank of wood, who doesn't know the A from the S, right? And it's creating havoc. They're not negotiating with nobody. They feel they know everything. They have personnel there that who I call macaroni pie chart that feels he know everything about the carnival, and he doesn't know an iota. So
well, I mean, we can just try to not call too much names.
All right, I ain't calling no names. I'm just using phrases. But we're lacking a lot, and if we continue so, what we're talking about? There's no memorandum of understanding as to how the relation with the bands would go. Something documented.
All right, I want you to just pause there. And I want to put this into perspective. So we had the carnival launch last week. And the complaint that we've been getting from a lot of people is that it is centered among fetes and those type of events. And the missing element is that of the calypso and the mass and the pan. It's not incorporated in the way that many of the carnival stalwarts would have liked to see.
And I'm disappointed in the chief sec and the secretary for culture and the assistant secretary for culture. You know why? We keep talking about being Tobago-centric. Fine, no problem. But here what's happening. They're talking with forked tongues. On one hand, they're talking Tobago-centric. On the other hand, they quietly, without any publicity, treating with people from Trinidad and not talking to people in Tobago. You cannot talk a Tobago carnival and don't include mass, pan, and calypso. Listen, on one of the flyers I saw pretty recently, they're talking about panning the Gayal. I asking you, is Tobago a stick fighting society or a cockfighting society? That's where you get Gayal.
Yes.
You understand me? And these kind of stupid phrases they'll be using. The carnival that they're talking about is basically 90% fat and line. That's all. But to develop the true artistic and economic potential of the island of Tobago, they're lacking. They're lacking.
So what elements that you would have liked to see added?
All right.
Now looking at what they have presented, so how could we have mixed in the cultural aspects of Carnival, the Tobago-centric cultural aspects of Carnival into what they have presented?
First and foremost, there's too much fat. There's too much fat. Now, I have no problem with promoters promoting the fat and that kind of something. But the assembly purpose should be to develop the artistic and economic values of the carnival. Full stop. The procedures that they're supposed to be going about is to have a memorandum of understanding with band leaders in Trinidad, band leaders in Tobago. We come together and say, look, if it is you are bringing a band in Tobago, here are some of the things you would like to see. We would like to see training on an ongoing basis. Not to bring up a man for a week and gone, right? But on an ongoing basis. We need to bring the relevant business acumen, how to structure a band, how to manage it, how to develop your skill sets in managing your band. Things like that supposed to be written in a document so that for now and future, you just don't have a kind of jump, wash your foot and jumping kind of something. If it is we don't protect our heritage, if it is we don't protect the artisan in Tobago, if we don't try to develop them, we're wasting time. And further to that, the community centers should be used for the mass production so that a visitor from New Zealand or Amsterdam could come and spend 2 weeks in Tobago. Not no weekend, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, so that we could earn foreign exchange, that they could now say, we're going to Mason Hall and see in the Mason Hall Community Center information on whiskey, on Brady, the pan side, that kind of thing, so that they would be able to gain information about our culture. And this should be spread around the island. It shouldn't be concentrated on one area. Tobago has too much potential. The chief secretary, I go mass some concert this morning. It doesn't matter to me because I'm not dependent, and as I always say, I'm not looking for work in the assembly. But somebody must state it, and probably it fall on my shoulder to state it emphatically that it's that they're doing.
All right, so as it stands right now, are we, as the NCBA, going to be taking part?
No.
So, I mean, and have you...
You see, let me interrupt you. You cannot treat with professionals in a lackadaisical way, in a manner that you alone know, and whatever you say, you shoot it down. Living example. I wrote a letter to Tasha in April for an audience. And up to today, the day before independence, she didn't reply. And here what happened. Her father came and asked us to vote for her in my parliament, to vote for her. And it's just to show you how when you reach in a position, how all of them is lose it. All of them is lose it. So I ain't holding no brief for nobody. I ain't holding no brief for nobody. I've always spoke my mind, clear and unequivocal. And let the chips fall with me. But they're not on a good public relation in regards to the three aspects of it.
If there's a meeting, if they are able to be called into a meeting within the next few days or weeks, would you reconsider your decision to participate in Tobago Carnival?
Well, in my capacity I don't bring any bands. I'm not involved in bringing bands again, but I would encourage our membership to see what can be done. Let me tell you something. Yesterday, my wife and I just buy a pizza and coming out of the mall. A bandita called me. Mr. T, hey, here what happened? I now get a call from the Division of Culture to bring a band for Independence Day Parade. 2 days before Independence Day Parade. And hear the whole thing. You could come in red, white, and black. Just and that kind of something. I mean, come on. We're talking 60 years independence. And you know this is a big celebration. This is supposed to be a big gala affair. But you telling somebody 2 days before independence, bring your costume and come. So I can't take them seriously. I cannot take them seriously. Now, I have some good partners in my party in PDP. I'm a member of PDP. And I know they're going to want to pelt stone and that kind of thing at me. But my back broad, as I tell them, I've never succumbed to pressure. I always stand up and say what I have to say. Our economy in tatters. And I'm not seeing any positive move to really implement it. They're getting ideas. Look, we have a guy like Dr. I call him Doctor. I call him Doctor. Dr. Reginald Dumas. A man of insurmountable knowledge and that kind of thing. And he's willing to assist. But them guys and them men calling on them in a meaningful way. They say they're talking with the chief sec, all the ex-chief secs and thing. Who try call, they ain't answering the phone. A lot of people be calling these guys and they ain't calling them. And I see like they get beaten with the stick. So.
All right, well, Mr. Sandyford, well, we will just have to leave it right there. And we hope that something can happen within the next few weeks, that we can get a bit more of you guys involved and at least satisfactorily involved with the Tobago Carnival.
I'll tell you something before I go. I hold no brief for anybody. My thing is the development of Tobago. And there is an avenue that is present to do it. We had Tobago Fest that was last done in 2018.
Yes.
You don't hear nothing about that. It sounds like if this Tobago Carnival thing is a new thing and all kind of something. And I just listen and laugh because I'm controversial. If they're doing something wrong, I go tell them they can't handle that. All right? But are you good?
All right, Mr. Sandyford, it was such a pleasure being on with you and having you on with us this morning. And yeah, we hope that they are listening.
Well.
So, all right, well, viewers, don't worry. We have a lot more coming up for you on the program. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this.
Yo, Olia, what's going on boy outside nice is all about it. You know, we celebrating 60 years independence. Because after we done left right, we here, we on the strip. It's all about the street festival. We starting from up so, Dutch Fort, coming straight down so to Coast Guard Corner, right? It's gonna come alive. Entertainment, things for the children, you don't know everything. That's starting from 3 p.m. And then from 8 p.m. we coming back here because the fireworks launching from somewhere out so. Yeah, we celebrating it, boy, things nice. 60 years anniversary, boy, independence. Nice, boy, yes, boy, we outside.
Party Island, the vibe is strong like white rum, boy. Nothing sweeter than Tobago, yeah.
Advertise with Tobago Updates. Call 284-6597. If you have a small or large business, we can get your information in front of the masses. Reach our rapidly growing viewership on Facebook and YouTube. Promote your brand in Trinidad and the Caribbean through M&E TV Now and Gayel. Yes, we can build unique ads for your business. Call now 284-6597 and advertise with us.
Hey, Boy, we outside with we family, boy, yes. And on the 3rd of September, we're still celebrating independence. 60 years of independence right here in Trinidad and Tobago. It's all about red, white, and black. The walkathon and breakfast. And we're starting right here at the Dwight York Stadium. Yes, and then we going straight into Scarborough. Yes, we building our sweat, boy. We coming through the streets of Scarborough, right? We in Fred Hudson. And after we leave Scarborough, you know where we headed next? Down to the Shop Park Complex. So yes, remember we're celebrating it and we're ending it off with the walkathon. Trinidad and Tobago, happy independence. We turning 60. Yes, boys.
Everybody jump it up together. Jump it up together. Family, where you there? Boom.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
We are melanated ones. We special and there is no denying. Tobago is number one. I am you and you are me. Together we stronger. Good morning, Tobago.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago. Of course, we are continuing our conversations about Carnival. I mean, we can't talk enough about it. There's so much to talk about. And joining me on this segment is Mr. Silver Lion.
Silver Lion, she's a silver lion, yeah? I'm a gold lion, I should be named Gold Lion. Eh? Simba Lion. Silver.
All right, I'm not trying to make that correction there. But yes, and of course you are one of our artists, and we're going into Carnival.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling as a Tobago artist going into Carnival and seeing all the events, seeing the program, seeing the setup that they have? You know, what are your reactions?
Ooh, well, a lot of mixed emotions, I would say, because one, we're excited that we have our own carnival for the first time in Tobago, for Tobagonians. Let me add that, right? And two, we're still waiting to see the events unfold that says there is a Soca Monarch, there is a pan competition, there is a, you name it, a mass competition that actually goes with the carnival for the Tobago Carnival. And me and about 30, 35, 37 soca artists been putting out music, promoting soca music, trying to get ourselves ready for the carnival. But the getting ready is for what? We're still trying to see for what we're getting ready for. We made phone calls, we tried to reach out, and they don't take us serious. I must say the gentleman that was here before, I must applaud him because what he was saying basically was everything I was planning to say. I might as well take it from here. But you understand?
Yes.
It is very frustrating, right? The carnival a couple years ago, the Trinidad and Tobago Carnival, normal. There was a group, NTSM group, Mr. Seaton and them carry on Tobago, Soca Monarch,
yes,
you know, and there was a private event, you could say, right? Now, this time around, it is different in terms of the government is involved, THA is involved, the Festival Commission is involved. So I do not see why them don't see the need to actually put a carnival with structure and substance that mean carnival. When people leave the shores from Tobago, they must say, the carnival was nice. I like this artist. I saw them perform in this fete. I went to the road march. This is the most popular song played on the road for the carnival from Tobago artists. So when the February carnival come, it's an easy transition for me to move to Trinidad to get exposure for the big carnival. Some
and
people,
the Soca Monarch stage
exactly.
and so on.
Some people have the views that, oh, we're not doing too much promotion and marketing. This is not about promotion and marketing. We were given the opportunity to do a carnival for Tobago people. So everybody who in the music industry, in that entertainment segment, should be taken care of. Not only 1-2 artists who they favor or 1-2 artists who've been in the limelight forever, so they keep giving them, so they hush them out and nobody speak, right? Me, I'm not here to bash the current government. PDP, I am a strong supporter of PDP. I was there in the campaign supporting them, rallying with the PDP. This is not about PDP. This is about the individuals that the PDP put in charge of the Carnival Commission that they're running. You see, these people who organize in the Carnival, the gentleman before said it, it is too much of fetes. You have 10 boat rides, 4 Juve. Up to now, we didn't see something that says, it's Carnival. We want to make the local people see we and hear we. They have no pride. They're not proud of themselves. To me, they say change. You have to change. We have to change the mentality. And in order to change, you have to be uncomfortable, right? To accept change, you must be uncomfortable. And right now, we need to go through this uncomfortable phase to change the way the people think, right? The general public, some of them, sorry to say, my people, I love all you. But some only have the idea that once it's a Tobago production, it's a, they ain't sure. If somebody come and produce their music, they have excuse. They say to your who produced it? When you call a producer name that nobody know, that ain't so good. That was the old excuse. The new excuse they're giving now is, you ain't get proper marketing. Forget marketing for now. Stick a pin in that. This is about, again, Tobago Carnival for Tobago people. PDP went into power. Mr. Watson Duke and PDP went into power for change, for Tobago. Why things the same?
Well, we see on the calendar that the only thing for soca or calypso is that of Tuco having this Tuco Lime event, and I think that's the schedule for the Friday of the Carnival weekend. When you guys saw that, what were your opinions? What were your reactions?
Again, when it came up, I personally sent it to one representative that I thought was a part of the Carnival committee. He said to me that them is not the one who's doing that. And me, I still saying to the ones who doing that, right? I don't see why you all still insist on bringing up a lot of Trinidad acts to fill these shows. This is our opportunity. So it caused a lot of, I wouldn't say people want to riot, but we're at the point where we're going to go protest. We're going to go to your office. We're going to go to the media house. We're going to go to the radio stations and let them know. We're not forcing a radio station to play with music or forcing a promoter to book us for your show. We're trying to let the government do the right thing. The THA government currently, who put these individuals in charge, let them do the right thing. So when people leave the carnival, they could take something with them and take somebody with them. Thumbs up.
Okay, so if at this point in time it's perhaps too late to, to change the events and that sort of thing. Now, how could we at least change the construct of the events so that Tobago artists get more of a headline in them?
Well, as I say, there's 37 artists right now who waiting on some kind of response, right? And what we was really wanting to see is some kind of groovy monarch or some kind of soca monarch. Now, it might sound like we don't have much time, but we do have time because all you have to do is call a preliminary, say this is the email, send your songs there, you all choose the listing, who you all want to be in the finals, semi-finals. We have a semi-finals and we do have finals. That is soca, calypso as well, pan, we need that as well. All these people, they pay money to go record their songs, right? Put out, even some of them go and they buy clothes thinking that they're going to get a chance to perform. And there is no avenue to perform. No, I don't want to talk about the free avenue or come and perform because somebody give you a blind. This is we carnival. We're not supposed to get no blind. Trinidad artists. I love all you know. And I love the Trini support because without Trini in carnival, it's a hard carnival for Tobagonians. Trini just come with that energy that we need. But I'm not talking about the artists, I'm talking about the people. So the Trini people, we want only to come to Tobago and see what we have to offer and support us. The artists, you all can stay down there. January, February is coming. We'll reach all on the turf down there.
I love it.
We literally down there.
All right. So you're calling for that groovy, the soca monarch. You want the whole thing.
Of course. First impression, you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. And this is our first impression, our carnival. So we have to have our foot in now. You think next year anybody want to hear about some soca artists that didn't make it last year in the first carnival? You're throwing us out the door right away from the beginning.
And
so
I wanted
to change.
I wanted to pause there and like to talk a little bit about that because you know Tobago artists have struggled to make it on the soca international soca monarch stage. You know, a lot of times you get to semi-finals, but you don't advance past the semi-finals, and it seems as though the powerhouses from Trinidad are too strong. But I mean, I want you to talk about the opportunity that Tobago Carnival is supposed to provide our artists here in Tobago to allow them to compete properly on the international stage.
Practice make permanent, not perfect. Practice make permanent. And we're not getting the chance to practice with craft. So this carnival could have also been a chance. One, practice. Two, get yourself marketed. Because now once they see you on the carnival scene in Tobago, then the Trini acts, the Trini promoters have no choice but to look at you. But if they don't see you on your own Tobago soil, you cannot get a show or you cannot get 10 artists to perform a small concert for the people and let them choose a road march or whatever. Then for me, I find that it's very disappointing. So we have to fix that from now. And we've been trying to say to them. And I would just say further, we're going to protest. We're definitely going to protest if we reach the case of things is not going to change. We voted in PDP and Watson Youth for change. Let me say that again, for change, not for the things to remain the same. And we cannot just let some people be happy in this changing period and the others left out. For too long, Tobagonians don't talk, they don't speak, right? Me in particular. I call myself Simba Lion, but I will take the donkey in the shoulder and put the weight on my shoulder. I will put the weight on my shoulder for all musicians in Tobago. They could ban me from the show. They could not invite me. I am not looking for no handouts from none of you. I am comfortable in my life. I don't have to sing to have food on my table right now. You understand? But I am doing this for Tobago people and for you to move forward. Mentality needs to change.
All right, and I want to thank you so much, Mr. Simbaline.
Yes.
And of course, you're not just speaking for yourself, but you're speaking for 37 other soca artists here in Tobago. And yes, we're looking forward to see if there can be any change and, you know, and if you guys are going to have to protest.
Yes, yes.
So, all right, so viewers, don't go anywhere. We have a lot more coming up for you after the break.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
The best place to stay in Tobago is at Thorn's Place with rates starting as low as 200 TT. Call or WhatsApp 745-7306 or 682-8676. We are located uptown Scarborough, 5 minutes away from the port. Remember, at Thorn's Place, our aim is to make your stay safe and affordable.
The Street 919 FM and the Tobago Updates presents the Tobago Updates Morning Show live simulcast on the Street 919 FM. Start your day with all the information you want and need with the simulcast of the Tobago Updates Morning Show live Mondays to Fridays from 7 a.m. on the Street 919 FM, the official station that defends the nation.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO, and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Never ever worry. Don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry. If your house get flooded out real bad, I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil will always be here for you.
Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
We are beaches, we are rivers, we are melanated ones. We special and there is no denying Tobago is number one. I am you and you are me. Together we stronger. Good morning.
Lovely Charlene Turner, good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning and thanks for having me.
And she is the coordinator for ComDev's fishing tournament, and that's coming up in Castara.
Yes, it's coming up on the 1st of September.
Great. So, first of all, want to tell me a little bit about this fishing tournament?
All right. This fishing tournament is geared towards getting youths involved, youths who are living on the northern end of the island, Castara, Palatavere, Bloody Bay. The community of Castara is mainly made up of fishing, fishermen, and approximately 70% of the youths are involved in fishing to some extent. And I thought it best to take them from what they know. If you want to get them in to be transitioning to owning their own and becoming entrepreneurs where fishing is concerned, you have to take them from the known to the unknown. So here's where we are starting with the known. They are familiar with fishing, and then what we would have done to make sure that they are ready is to have training. So we would have had 3 days of training where we teach them basic sea survival, safety at sea, overall maritime, and marketing, commercial fishing, and all of that. So they would have been exposed to as much as possible where fishing is concerned. That is before they can think of the tournament.
So now that they have been trained and they're going through all that that tuition and so on, now they are going to be competing against each other to see who is the best.
Yes, and so we from that training we were able to pull together several teams of persons, young persons between the ages of 18 and 35. Were selected, and they would have been able to have one older person who would be the captain. For safety, you need somebody with experience to go with them at sea
and to guide them.
So come Thursday, the day after Independence, Thursday, the 1st of September, all roads will lead to Castara Beach facility, where teams would be going out at sea. Now, this is going to be interesting because they're going out at sea, and they're not just going to just catch fish. There are some specific species that we're hoping that they can target and bring them in.
Are you be able to share with us what these species of fish are?
All right, so we have grouper, we have kingfish, we have wahoo. So those are some of the fish, and dolphin. So those are some of the fishes that they would be able to bring. And the heaviest one, we are trying to avoid catching fish lower than 15 pounds. So we're looking for big fishes. Sharks would not be permitted. Although it's considered a fish, it would not be permitted. So we are looking forward to having a grand time out at sea.
And we know that Castara fishermen, they catch some of the biggest fish. I mean, sometimes like when you see those pictures of those big fish circulated on social media, it comes from the Castara fishermen.
Yes, that is true. And we are hoping that those young persons would really go out there and do their best, not just to catch fish, but to be wise in the fish that they are catching, because they were taught how to target specific species. So we are looking forward to maybe a new fish that we haven't seen in Tobago. All that can be expected when they go out at sea. And while they're out at sea, there will be activities and events taking place ashore. So we would have rock fishing. So if you can't go out, if you won't register to go out, you can participate in that.
And that's open to any member of the public?
That's open to any member. And it would be between the ages of 10 and 35, because we're still trying to keep it within the youth age. And so we have those fishing events at shore, and also we would be having a roast fish competition. Now that is where you catch your own fish, and then you prepare them, and then you prepare them as a dish to be served, and the best tasting dish would be awarded prizes. And so while that is happening now, we would be having sporting activities, football, tennis, and small goals. So those are things that we're going to have to keep the patrons happy until the fishermen who are at sea comes to shore.
So a lot of exciting things happening.
Yes, yes.
And now, as you mentioned that all roads lead to Castara, well, we have to talk about the road issue that we're having right now, because along as they're getting into Castara there, that area where there's always a depression in the road.
Yes.
Well, unfortunately, part of it is closed, and now it's, I mean, how can people traverse those roads? Has that conversation come up? And what advice do you have for people who will be wanting to go to this fishing tournament?
All right. So as far as the official conversation is concerned, I've not yet had that conversation. But from a layperson's point of view, which means somebody who travels that road, that is easy. You drive around to Roxborough, Bloody Bay, and you come across, or you come on the same path and you walk just a little, or there can be shuttle arrangement. But I'm certain that the work would be done so that by tomorrow or by Thursday it would be clear. So I'm saying nothing should stop you from coming to Castara. Castara is the place that you should be. Come sun or rain, come road or not, Castara is the place you should be, and it's going to be a grand time at Castara come this Thursday.
And there's not only one route to get to Castara, there's several routes
and
to
that
get
is
to
true.
Castara.
That is true. Or you come up with the boat, you take a boat and you come around. So there's no excuse for somebody to stay home. It's the last Thursday before school starts. So it is expected that parents would send their children and they themselves would come out and really support this effort. It's one of the best initiatives where the youths are concerned in Castara, because you know, it's one thing to go by the beach and just spend time, but it's another thing to be engaged. And so this whole program is youths engaged in fishing industry, because we want them to turn that fishing idea into a commercial business where they themselves can be entrepreneurs at the highest level, not just catching fish.
And what about the collaboration with the Castara Fishing Association? Is that a part, are they a part of this whole initiative?
Okay, so because this really is a youth development program, it is not so much of a fishing, even though the activity is fishing, it's really a youth initiative. So it stays with the youth department of the community development, youth development and sports development. But we would like to have everybody on board because we are going to their territory. And then there's a youth center in Castara. So we are going through the youth center to accomplish this fishing tournament.
And is there a cost for anybody to attend?
Luckily, at this time, we want to treat everybody nice, so we have not at any cost. So it is free to the general public.
And so what other things that people should know about coming to the event?
Food would be there, drinks would be there, friends and families would be there, and you just come to have a good time. We take safety seriously, both for the fishermen and for the patrons. You just come expecting a good time, and that's what you would get. And then we would have, we're not leaving prizes for next time. We're not telling people, go to the office and you would get your prizes. We are saying at the end of the day, you would walk home with over $20,000 in prizes. All that is to be won on that one day.
And I'm sure there's a lot of young people that will be looking forward to that.
Indeed, there is.
And as you're talking about this initiative, of course, this initiative has been working for Castara, the youths there in Castara. But what about the other communities? Is this going to be extended to the other communities around Tobago?
Very good question, Candice. There are several other youth centers throughout Tobago. And one of the things that we believe in is if we do something and it works well, then it means that it has the potential to grow. And because of that, we can now take it around Tobago. So let's see how Thursday would go. Let's see the support, let's see the prizes, let's see the camaraderie and the togetherness. Let's see how the fishermen feel, the youth fishermen feel about this. And once they can give it a thumbs up, you can be sure that this thing would be carried out throughout Tobago and, as a matter of fact, become a national event.
All right, great. So there you have it now. And just quickly, for our viewers who are just wanting to know the date and the time.
Okay, so it is this Thursday, the day after Independence. Don't fall asleep. Thursday at 7 a.m. We're going to be there with our fishermen. We would be briefing them, make sure all safety checks are done. And at 9 a.m., the boat would go out with the teams, and they come back in for weighing for 3 o'clock. And after that, we would have the roast fish competition while the sporting is happening. Everything is happening at 7 a.m. But for you who want to be involved in other events, you come for 9. From 9 until the day is over. So you can expect a wonderful time at Castara come Thursday Youth Fishing Tournament.
Okay, so Mrs. Turner, I want to thank you so much for being here with us and to sharing us about that Castara Fishing Tournament. All roads lead to Castara on Thursday. So there you have it, folks. Get on down and have some fun fishing and win some prizes. $20,000 in prizes. You can't go wrong. All right, viewers. So that's it that we have. That's all that we have for the show this morning on the eve of our 60th independence. So you just want to urge you all to please be safe. There's a lot of things happening. Go out there and celebrate us as Trinidad and Tobago, a wonderful country that God has blessed us with. But please be safe out there. Make mindful of your children. You know, have those plans in place. Make sure that, you know, there are like those emergency numbers. All of those things are there while you guys are out having fun, so that your fun is not disrupted and you can still continue to have fun no matter what. All right, viewers, it's been such a pleasure being with you, and we'll see you again on Thursday morning. Not tomorrow morning, but on Thursday morning. But you know, go out tomorrow, check out the parade. It's going to be a grand time. All right, viewers, have a wonderful day and a happy 60th Independence, Trinidad and Tobago. And we'll see you again on Thursday.